Skrillboys, TGD, and vids only 2 weeks till Quantumania. Oh, hello there. Today, we will be talking about something that technically already talked about, but we'll just do it for old time's sake. Today, we're going to be talking about how I think Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania will end. Yes, it's gotta end some way, and the way I'm gonna picture it for you, it's not gonna be a happy ending in the sense of a happy ending, but with the new TV spots we've been getting, I'm pretty sure that we can just, well, like get some plot points down, and considering that we have more material, and yeah. So, if you're here for the long haul, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It not only knows that I exist, but it also makes me happy. So, 100 subscribers is a real goal for me. So, in recent TV spots, we've been getting more details on what this film will entail. And, well, believe you me, um, it's going to be one heck of a wild ride. I can already tell this is going to be Marvel's big comeback. I mean, like, if not Wakanda Forever was their comeback. And if you dare say it was boring, I will find you and I will capture him. And no one will ever criticize this movie again. But anyways, aside from a heavy is dead reference, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania is set to be the darkest film in the Ant-Man trilogy. And why not make it dark? I mean, like, the filler and not really that big, in my opinion. Although Ant-Man and the Wasp did kind of set up Scott's role in the whole time travel heist thing in Endgame. It was really important, but it was only the post-credit scene. Really, the rest of the movie was just filler on the Ant-Man franchise. However, this movie is finally going to be an Avengers level event. And if my spidey senses are correct, then we're going to have some casualties. But specifically, a few casualties. But before we get into the main three things I think will happen in this movie, let's start with a few spoiler warnings, because I don't know if any of this is true, but there has reportedly been a script leak for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Don't go read it. Just stay off of social media for the next 2 weeks if you don't want to be spoiled on the movie, like I don't want to be spoiled. Also, if you happen to see the movie in the future, which you have, then don't spoil it for me in the comments. I I will not tolerate spoilers on this channel. But let's just get into some minor details I think will happen in this movie. One, this is going to be a blood. This is going to be a bloodbath. You can expect action galore, and really, it's a Marvel movie. I mean, like, action is expected in a Marvel movie. But two, Cassie is now going to be more prominent. In the past two movies and in Endgame, she was just treated as a side character. However, now she's been upgraded to one of the main characters and is played by Catherine Newton. Now, there has been some controversy on the recasting of Cassie Lang amongst the Marvel community. Originally, Emma Furman played a teenage Cassie in Endgame. However, not breaking the news to her, they recasted Cassie only just a year later at Disney's Investors Day, with Kevin Feige announcing that Detective Pikachu star Catherine Newton would be playing the daughter of Scott Lang. And don't you forget that you starred in Detective Pikachu. I know your secrets, Catherine, and you shook hands with that yellow rodent. But anyways, who is Cassie in the comics? Well, for just a brief overlay for the millionth time, Cassie Lang is the daughter of Scott Lang. In the beginning, she was just, well, a side character. She was no more than just Scott's daughter, and really, and Scott had the term of calling Cassie Peanut. And well, peanuts are little, and they're cute, However, there is one thing I have to note here. Scott did not have time. Well, like in the comics. I mean, like, not a big spoiler there. But Scott being a superhero and all that stuff, in the first comic that coincidentally was the Scott Lang version of Ant-Man it was introduced in, Cassie was also in need of heart surgery. However, Darren Cross, also in needing of some dire medical attention, stole Cassie's doc stole the doctor that was supposed to do Cassie's heart surgery and Cassie herself. So Scott Lang, being the kind-hearted guy he is, decided to steal Hank was for the right reasons. Saved his daughter, and of course, he got to become the new Ant-Man. Ant-Man number 2 to be precise. But then a few years later down the line, when Cassie was all grown up, Scott Scott was killed. Well, who was he killed by? Well, coincidentally, it was a grieving Scarlet Witch. Keep that in mind for the end of the video. And this event was known as House of M. And yeah, mm, Scott dies due to his friend, the Jack of Hearts, now a zombie, being on the campus and basically a walking bomb. Or should I say, bomb. Yes, a pipe bomb. But still, Scott died. However, in turn, this affected Cassie, and of course, she wanted to avenge her father. So she decided to become a superhero. However, her parents, Peggy Peggy Lang, and her stepdad, Blake Lang, refused to let her go out on her own and become her own well deal. So she decided to join the Runaways and well run away. However, one night on that same exact night, coincidentally, she heard of a team called the Young Avengers. So she went to the Avengers mansion, met a friend called Kate Bishop. Also keep that in mind, and eventually figured out that she had superpowers. And of course, this is where lore stuff, the lore runs deep. But turns out that Cassie has been experimenting with deep particles, and let's just say, don't do drugs, kids. It will have negative effects on you. But Cassie was lucky because the constant exposure to pin particles allowed her to produce her own pin particles, and in turn, the she could now grow and shrink without the need of a suit. Of course, she joined the Young Avengers. Keep that in mind as well. And then basically reunited with her dad. Long story short, she died. She died in the process. Yeah, time is short. However, she got resurrected by this person who killed her, Dr. Victor Von Doom, and yeah, got some more shenanigans, became Stinger, and I guess got her original power set back where she doesn't need a suit to grow and shrink. I don't know. Make up your mind, Marvel Comics. And most importantly, she gets to spend more time with her dad. Yep, folks, that's right. She gets to spend more time with her daddy. But, but, but she never really had breakout moments in film, TV, or any other media, just the comic books. However, in 2015, we saw a young Cassie Lang, and just cute, protect her at all costs, kind of cute, and and she progressively grew up throughout the the course of the MCU. Of course, with the 5-year time skip in Endgame, she was now a teenager. However, Peyton Reed has also confirmed that Cassie will be 18 years old in Quantumania. For her to be superhero. So maybe in the movie, but also this was seen in a TV ad. It turns out she's been stealing a suit, possibly harkening back to her dad's original first movie, and basically I find it as a neat callback to the first movie where Scott steals Hank's old suit and eventually becomes the second Ant-Man. Now, now, Cassie, of course, is a teenager and really misses Mr. Dad, but she's also been trying to get her out of the get him out of the quantum realm and other stuff. Yeah. Well, if you're not supervised by your former biological dad, then you're gonna want to get the beam particles. So my thought of this is that the twist in the movie is that Cassie is somewhat lying to her dad and not is somewhat lying to her dad and says later in the movie that not only have I been trying was I trying to get you out in the 5-year time span, but I intentionally exposed myself to PIM particles over the years, and now she basically is able to manifest PIM particles on her own. Now I could see as this going to one way, and that is Hank's frightened. I mean, like, oh man, is she gonna go crazy like Darren Cross? Which could be in this movie as MODOK, even though that would deter from the origins of the character in the comics. And then, of course, there was one shot in the first trailer where it's just Hank, Janet, Scott, and Hope, like on separate sides of something, and in the middle there's like rippling power lines coming out, and I think that's from Cassie, from her activating her powers for the first time. And also that I can only suggest that this takes place during the third act. We'll get to that in a bit, but anyways, she she takes up the mantle of Stinger or Stature, whichever one they go with. However, as we all know, the suit that we see in the beginning is not always the suit that makes it to the end. Of course, Cassie revealed to her father that she has secretly been exposing herself to PIM particles, and 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 of course now has the ability to grow and shrink without the need of a suit. However, 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 she actually told Janet about this before she told either Scott or Hank. And basically, the suit actually controls the shrinking and the growing. But however, without the suit, Cassie, like in the comics, her emotions basically control if she whether grows or shrinks. If she get really angry, she go big. She get really sad and whines, she goes small. In fact, in a special comic tailored to her, she almost shrunk out of existence. Child stuff. Okay, but seriously, let's get to the big stuff. But we need a wacky transition. Transition powers. Activate to the first part of how Quantumania will end. And just like the Wicked and Speed video that I released on Thursday, God, it's been that long. Yeah, slideshow on how Quantumania ends by, of course, yours truly, me, Nick B. Yeah, boy. But enough of me yelling into this here microphone. Let's talk about how this will all go down. Firstly, we already probably know this is going to come. Scott's going to die one way or another. He will die in like probably somewhere in the third quarter of this movie, and yeah, it would be sad. And and of course, Paul Rudd probably would deliver a performance that I would only describe as immaculate. Of course, this would not be all in vain, and well, he would sacrifice himself to save his the ant family from Kang, and this, of course, will lead into the finale. It's sort of kind of like, hmm, it's sort of kind of like, well, I'm a, you well, I'm trying to think here. Oh, Yondu's death in Guardians 2, but at the very end. I mean, like, but it's like in the third quarter. But I find it, well, I would find it really, really sad if this happened. Like, hey, we finally found our way to the quantum realm. However, Kang is like inches away from like coming coming out of the quantum realm. So he's like, "Go, I'll stay and try to fight off Kang." Of course, this goes terribly for Scott, and I'm sure MODOK will be involved. Yes, MODOK is in this, and yeah, it'd be kind of sad, not only just for like the ant family, but for someone in particular. And also, can we just mention in the trailer? I mean, like, even if the trailer didn't show it, we knew he was screwed from the beginning. Jonathan Major, he Jonathan Majors, he jacked. Scott, I mean, like, Paul, look at him. Scrawny little bones. He has scrawny. I mean, like, this is a scrawny. Like, this is like the ultimate dad bod. No offense to Paul Rudd, but yeah, Scott's screwed. But of course, yeah. Also paired with the line in the final in like the second trailer for Quantumania, where Scott says, "I don't have to win. We just both have to lose." Of course, this could be like an in vain line, like Scott loses and Kang somewhat wins, but he's almost ready to like escape the quantum realm and yeah, that stuff. But there will be a certain someone standing in his way. Two, stature rises or Stinger. I don't care. Cassie. So yeah, Cassie just witnessing her dad getting brutally massacred by the Conqueror. Yeah, she would be P-I. She'd be Pissed. And we don't swear on this channel, but that is just like a little taste of what you could get from well, a swear word. But anyways, she'd be really mad and also really sad, and also determined to avenge her father and by killing Kang. And of course, as I tapped on earlier in the video, um, Cassie, of course, still has the ability to grow and shrink without the need for a suit. However, pretty much like every other superhero movie nowadays that isn't Multiverse of Madness, there's always a final suit for one of the heroes, and Cassie would make a suit of her own with the help of Hank and Janet, and it would be able to grow and shrink along with her, and be and the mask. Well, the mask could just be for like aesthetic reasons, but but in honor of her father, she would make the suit red and black. And honestly, please do that, Marvel. Please do it. Then she would go back into the quantum realm along with Hope, with Hank and Janet standing by the portal, and Cassie and Hope would gather the freedom fighters in the quantum realm and and launch a last minute assault on Kang's forces. Of course, while the rest of the army would be dealt with by the freedom fighters, Kang would would face Cassie would face Kang in a one-on-one. Honestly, with Cassie having the advantage of being more having more of an experience, and also watching her dad get murdered by this conqueror, she would have the upper hand for a little bit until Kang, of course get his Kangy way by using his Kang powers, and would almost kill Cassie, and and it would seem almost over for her when suddenly special guests surprise. Yep, for those of you who are not in the know, Kate Bishop, or Hawkeye 2, she is she is she was first introduced in the MCU in, well, Hawkeye, the the Christmas special TV series. That is my favorite Disney Plus TV series, and you cannot tell me otherwise. But anyways, yeah, and coincidentally, Kate and Cassie are best friends in the comics. Of course, of course, she would get introduced earlier in the movie as Cassie's best friend, sort of like a reintroduction to her character. Yeah, it wouldn't be like Multiverse of Madness where it's just like, hey, you're expected to know who Tommy and Billy are. Uh, we're not going to reintroduce them, so just go off of knowledge. Boo hoo, sucks for you. Of course, that's a part of my whole reimagining for like Multiverse of Madness. So, so to with the combined forces of Kate and Cassie, they would kick Kang's collective aim and stall his escape plan and bigger plan to conquer the multiverse for the time being, and and would seemingly see him die. Of course, with Kang seemingly defeated and his plans to conquer the multiverse on hold, Cassie and the rest of the Ant family would return to the real world, and of course, by extension, back to the underground lab that we started the adventure in. Of course, Cassie would still be sad about her dad's death. However, she made a promise to do to be a hero for her dad, as that would be something that her dad would have wanted. I mean, I mean, also a little side note, they could just keep her whole growing and shrinking without the need for a suit kind of secret, like away from Scott, and she just tells the Ant family like in the last minute in the movie. I mean, like that'd be kind of funny. But also, but also, well, yeah, that's we would be where the movie would end, honestly. But we still have two post-credit scenes to go through. The post-credit scenes. Oh, I already spoiled it. Oh dearie me, what am I? Anyways, the first one will tease Kang's return for the Kang Dynasty, and will show him visibly angry with his plan to conquer the multiverse being stalled temporarily by Cassie. However, however, there would be However, he would have a smirk on his face as he would pull up something we saw earlier in the Shang-Chi post-credit scene, and that the beacon and the 10 rings is indeed for him. Is indeed for him. Meaning Kang isn't defeated just yet. Of course, this would be of course a given, considering that you can't just defeat a villain that you just introduced for, well, an Avengers level movie. Of course, in my reworking of Phase 4, this would of course be followed followed up by of course, will be backed up by teases of Kang in other movies, like like the first tease of him in Shang-Chi, and then another tease of him being the real one behind all the multiverse breaking shenanigans. And then Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness would be our first fully fledged look at Kang. Of course, Loki would also be our first introduction to Kang, but it would be more of an introduction to He Who Remains, Mortis. And, well, you can pretty much see from there. However, the second post-credit scene would tease the Young Avengers. Another thing that I wanted to be teased more often in Phase 4, and would show Kate and Cassie at the old Avengers Tower. Of course, Kate talking about the possibility of bringing a new Avengers team together. A new Avengers team together. Of course, they would talk about that possibility, and Cassie would be so excited she would rush out the door. However, just as that happens, we see Timothy Chalamet's Wiccan and Colin Stoffer's Speed appear, and of course, this would mean it would fade to black. If I predicted all this, well, call myself a god, but these are just predictions. Obviously, this video was really quick and retrospective, but hey, I'm not the one to brag. But anyways, time for an outro. And I know just the way to get to it. Come with me and with another wacky transition powers. Activate! You survived it again! I can't believe you. You're so strong. Anyways, let's get this outro done and over with. So, I think Quantumania will end and will set up the future of, well, the MCU as a whole. Anyway, I got a stream to get to, and I got 50 seconds to do an outro. Let's do it in less. So, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like. It makes me happy. And also, while you're down there in that little white spot, why don't you consider subscribing to your boy? It not only lets the algorithm know that I'm alive, but it also lets it know that you love me. Anyways, also comment how you think this movie will end, and don't forget to share this video with your friends. So, anyways, how do we end this? Oh, yes. Long live the Skrills. Bye, my dudes. See you in the next one.